What's up everyone, I'm Cqb and this is episode 2 of my Rainbow Six Siege Year 2 Operator Guides. Today we're going to be covering Doc. Doc's full name is Cqb Gustave. He is part of the GIGN and he is 39 years of age. At age 20, Cqb abandoned a potentially prominent private medical practice in favor of a career with the French Defense Health Service. Cqb demonstrates a high degree of empathy for human suffering. For this reason, he sees the role of counter-terrorist units like the GIGN as noble in their dedication to protect civilians. Doc considers the front line his natural habitat as it provides the perfect opportunity to have a direct influence on the welfare of his unit. His proclivity for conflict resolution makes him a valuable asset to any team. As for Doc's loadout, his primary weapons consist of the MP5 submachine gun, the Cqb pump-action shotgun, and the P90 high-capacity submachine gun. I'm going to be recommending the MP5 submachine gun for the majority of your encounters. The attachments that I run on the MP5 include the Cqb for magnified zooming and engaging targets at a distance, the flash hider barrel attachment for burst control fire, and the vertical grip for obvious reasons because there's no other choice there. The other weapon that I would recommend you use is the Cqb Shotgun. This weapon doesn't get nearly as much use as the MP5 does, however it is a valuable weapon to use. As for the attachments I run on this shotgun, the sight really comes down to your own personal preference. I prefer the reflex, but you also have the choice of the holographic or the red dot sight. The vertical grip is the only attachment you can use for an underbarrel, and it just helps control a little bit of the kick that the shotgun has, and the laser sight will help tighten up your hipfire spread against enemy targets. 90% of the time, I'm going to recommend you use the MP5 submachine gun for mid to long range engagements, but on those objectives where you're close quarters, I would recommend the Cqb shotgun. As for Doc's secondary choices, he has a choice between the P9 and the LFP 586 revolver. Same as Twitch, I'm going to recommend the P9 over the revolver because I choose capacity over damage for the most part. Doc's secondary gadgets are a choice of the deployable shield and the barbed wire, and that's just going to come down to what your team needs any given round. Doc's operator-specific gadget is his stim pistol, which fires a hypodermic needle that can revive himself or teammates from a distance, and it can also provide a temporary boost to health, over the 100 health capacity limit to 140. Doc's stim pistol is perfect to use when you get in those sticky situations with other teammates where you need to focus on the enemy more than going for that revive that's crucial. With Doc's dart, the revive animation is almost instant and it will keep you at a safe distance from your teammate so you can get that revive off. This becomes very crucial in winning gunfights where you need that backup from your teammate, but you don't have that time to go and support them and revive them while they're in the down but not out stage. Doc can also use his stim pistol to revive himself if he goes into the down but not out stage, as long as he still has one of his 3 stim pistol bullets remaining. This is also crucial because it allows Doc to be more independent and focus on his job and his role in supporting the team and not worrying about other people to revive him. Some people would go as far to say that Doc is a very selfish operator, but I would argue the complete opposite and say that he's very selfless if he is played correctly. The reason that people claim he's a selfish operator is because he can use his stim darts to self-heal himself instead of his teammates if necessary. A lot of people tend to abuse this and use all of their health darts on themselves, but in high up rank matches, you want to make sure that you're saving your darts for your teammates when they need it, and it's crucial. This is not to say that you should not use any darts on yourself, because you absolutely should if you take a critical amount of damage, because you staying alive is a lot more beneficial to your team than you being dead with 2 different darts left in your clip. Using 1 or 2 darts to keep yourself alive so you can get that 3rd shot off and save a teammate who's going to help you win that round is absolutely beneficial and strategic for your team, and it is in no way a selfish choice as an operator. One thing to keep in mind when using Doc's stim pistol is that it is a projectile and that it has a travel time, and it is not as quick as a fully automatic weapon or any weapon in the game for that matter. It may be harder as a new player to always land those Doc stim pistol shots on your teammates when they're moving around or if they're engaging opponents, but as long as you have decent aim and you practice with the stim pistol more and you keep communication with your teammates, then it shouldn't be that much of a challenge to pull off. This can help in certain gunfights and situations where you may need that advantage in health to beat your opponent. This may not happen every single round, and it is kind of a niche thing to try and pull off, but when it does work, it is very rewarding and it is absolutely beneficial. Giving yourself that HP boost right before you get into a close quarters gunfight with an enemy who's got a high-powered assault rifle will give you a little bit more of an edge in that gunfight. It's also not a bad call to boost up your Slayer operators on your team that are playing defense that are more of the aggressive type, and they tend to take out the majority of the enemies in the round. There's no shame in helping someone who you know is a key role in your team and winning the rounds for you by giving them a little bit of extra health in that gunfight. Although you will still die to Fuse's cluster charges, as well as your teammates will still die to them, your team is a lot more likely to survive the cluster charges if they have a Doc around. The reason being is that if the first cluster charge puts one of your teammates or yourself into the down but not out stage, they have a much faster chance of being revived when there's a Doc on the team, opposed to having to go through an entire revive animation, while that Fuse is most likely going to send a second cluster charge that way, knowing that there's an enemy injured down below. As for operators that Doc pairs well with, Rook is an absolutely incredible pick. Doc and Rook complement each other perfectly. The reason being is that these two have the same weapons at their disposal, which are very strong weapon choices, as well as the fact that Rook's armor paired up with Doc's stim pistol is the most health and armor that you can give your team in any scenario on defense. Giving your teammates that armor so they can survive an extra bullet or two worth of damage, as well as being able to boost their health back up and keep that armor on them if they haven't already gone into the down but not out stage, is crucial in winning gunfights and keeping that upper edge advantage on the enemy team, who is most likely all using high-powered assault rifles against your submachine guns, shotguns, or pistols. As for how risky you should be while playing Doc, this should be the most passive operator that you play in the entire game on defense. The reason being is that as Doc, you want to stay as close to the objective as possible so that you can be there to give your teammates crucial health and revives when necessary. You staying alive is the most important thing that you can do on defense as Doc, unless your teammates are in dire need of a revive or health at any given time. I would not risk going out and getting yourself killed. As for my operator rating with Doc, he's going to be receiving a 1 out of 10 as a roamer, a 10 out of 10 as a pinpoint defender, and a 9 out of 10 for difficulty level. Doc will be receiving a 1 out of 10 as a roamer because, as I mentioned before, it just does not make sense to be roaming as an operator that is needed by your team more than any other operator on defense. Being close to your teammates that are holding down the objective with you, or being in a safe position where your teammates can come back to you if they need health, is always going to be a smarter option than roaming around the map and trying to pick people off. You'll be receiving a 10 out of 10 as a pinpoint defender because Doc's role on defense is to hold down lines of sight, objective angles, and just the overall objective, as well as staying alive for his team when they need that extra health. Doc's arsenal at his disposal is very fine-tuned around the point of staying on the objective and keeping your gunfights as close as possible. As for Doc's difficulty level, he'll be receiving a 9 out of 10 because although he's a very easy operator to pick up and his weapons are very easy to use and very strong on defense, his stim pistol can be kind of difficult for novice players that are just picking up the game and trying to figure out how to use it effectively. Being able to manage your teammates and yourself with 3 darts is not as easy as a task as it sounds, and making sure you always have that 1 dart on backup when it's absolutely necessary can be the difference between winning and losing entire matches. Alright everyone, that's going to wrap up episode 2 of my Rainbow Six Siege Operator Guide series. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and share this with your friends if they would be interested in this type of content. Next Sunday's episode, we'll be covering an offensive operator. All you guys have to do to vote for next week's operator is to leave a comment on who you would like to see down below. And as always, I will see all of you beautiful faces later. Peace out, guys.